Rathbun was struck by his authority. His voice had so much authority the universe would shake. You couldn't get any more authority than that voice. It was the authority that said, "Let there be light," and it was done. I had never heard that kind of authority my whole life. Then the father said something that surprised him. "I trust you, my son." I hadn't heard my own earthly dad say that in 51 years. My own dad didn't trust me. Here was the person with the most authority telling me he trusted me. Rathbun tried to argue with him. This doesn't make any sense at all. I was almost in hell. I almost hit the lake of fire. I did everything to disobey you. I went against your word. How could you trust me? I know all that. Let him see areas of heaven. After you are done sampling these areas of heaven, you can decide where you want to go and be. Then Rathbun went on the tour of his life. The first thing that struck was the immensity of heaven. It is huge. It is a very joyous place. Everywhere I looked was praise and worship. All of heaven was permeated with wonderful joy, very harmonious. It was the opposite of hell, with people screaming and yelling. I went from night into day, darkness into light. Now I could see how good the good really was, he recounts. Universities in heaven. The first area of heaven Rathbun visited involved education. I had been a magna summa cum laude graduate from college. I was valedictorian of my high school and college. The father let me know there are universities of learning in heaven. He reminded me that all knowledge comes from himself. Rathbun was startled to find areas in heaven with colleges similar to his earthly experience. However, one difference is that none of the books and none of the instruction contain anything in error, only truth. The father told him he could continue to grow in his understanding of mathematics. Math is not an earthly invention, it is something God overlaid on all creation, Rathbun notes. Mathematics is how God puts things together. God is a lawful God and mathematics is a pure description of God's law. In the second area he visited, he saw people engaged in artistic activities, making crafts and other things with their own hands. I had finished carpentry for 5 years and done well. The father knew I had a carpentry talent. He showed me the place where you take your gifts. He knows the gifts and talents he gave you, and encourages you to further develop them in heaven. You carpenter here like my son, the father told him. I saw women working with embroidery, making the most incredible tapestries for the homes in heaven. They were using transparent but shiny cloth. It vastly exceeded anything on earth. The women did it out of love. One of the joys of heaven is to continue to make things like this, fine furniture, jewelry, and gifts to give to each other. Then God placed Rathbun in the middle of an apricot orchard. There are vast orchards in heaven, he reports. John writes about the tree of life and the 12 fruits. Rathbun inspected ripe apricots on the trees. Everything glows with light up there and is transparent. You can actually see through the stuff. It is not like matter down here. It is like looking at glass, but they are living things, glowing with the light of God. The flowers were blooming and fruitful at the same time, he notes. I could smell the apricot fragrance and it was indescribable, with a slight hint of almond. Then I saw orange groves, pears, all perfect fruit, no blemishes, no yellow leaves. It was very alive. Meaningful fellowship. Then God showed him a social center in heaven. Rathbun had always wanted to develop his speaking abilities. Things didn't work out in high school and I didn't get on the debate team, he recalls. Perhaps you would like to learn how to share the truth of heaven, the father told him. Then Rathbun saw crowds learning how to speak, with heaven's standards. There were also groups meeting together, having fellowship with one another, social centers, areas all over where people could gather for talking and fellowship. Then he took me to 2 other areas that had to do with heaven itself. He would not allow me to remember this part. It was like a very special treasure waiting for God to unwrap and show you. It is not in my conscious memory, he says. The throne room. The ultimate was saved for last, when God gave him a glimpse of the throne room. The father had masked out himself in the center because the light was so bright it would have instantly blinded me. What was going on above the throne was what he wanted me to fully taste and experience. Right above the throne there is a rainbow, and that rainbow is multicolored. The part one focused in on was absolutely incredible, gorgeous violet, a deep purple color. The seraphim were immersed in that flame. It was a fire, very hot, it was very pure. The seraphim were in there singing and they were going back and forth in a semicircular pattern in that rainbow. It seemed to Rathbun they actually passed through each other, with one group traveling clockwise and another group moving counterclockwise. Their singing and worship was absolutely the most incredible worship you have ever had a chance to hear. Isaiah said he was undone when he heard the seraphim singing. When I heard them sing I was totally melted down instantly on the spot from the beauty and purity and the holiness of that worship. It was in 16 or more part harmony. They were unified in this incredible, holy, worship. I was pulled right into that. I told the Father, here is where I want to be for eternity. This is the best part of heaven. Then God pulled him away from the throne room. He said, no, I want you to make a fair decision. If I allowed you to stay longer with the seraphim, it would have fixed things for all eternity. Rathbun was miffed that he was pulled away from such an incredible scene of beauty, purity, and holiness. He sat for a moment, trying to take it all in. Have you made up your mind yet? The Father asked. How could I answer the Father? He thought. All heaven is so wonderful, beyond imagination. I don't know what to say or do. I need your help, Rathbun replied. Gladly, my son, I will help you, the Father said. A tapestry of his life. Then God unfolded a tapestry, like an Excel spreadsheet, that described Rathbun's life. I saw the beginning where I was born. The 18 years until I was born were grayed out. After that the things counted. It was a beautiful tapestry. Rathbun looked with curiosity at one section of the tapestry and asked, what is that? Those are your eternal rewards. I have planned rewards for everyone's life. If they are obedient to my will, their tapestry is filled in with my divine works. This is different from salvation, Rathbun notes. No one can earn salvation. But there are rewards that come from cooperating with God. He showed me the tapestry up to the automobile accident. He showed me the tapestry into the future and I had 30 to 35 years to go. Why are there more rewards after the accident? He asked God. Because you have decided to more fully obey me. Then Rathbun remembered he had just been rescued from hell and the Father had offered